say 60, 61 maybe?
So, you know, you get the idea. If gusts to 60 do this, we've got some problems. So again, more than 37,000 customers in the dark, Dejanique, at this point, and that's orange. Let's go to orange. I apologize. We're going to get the map. It works better when I use both hands, so I'm going to do that. But as we zoom over here, there's Highway 12. You can see Interstate 10. Again, southwest Louisiana at this point completely without power. And around orange, all of Mauriceville. Scattered problems around Vidor. Pine Forest looks like you've still got electricity. Pinehurst, kind of a split story there.
West Orange.
West Orange, all around the Orange County Airport. Looks like maybe it's one substation that's protecting Bridge City at this point that they still have power, but you get the idea. Large quadrants of Orange County, Dejanique, that don't have power.
Absolutely, Jordan. We're going to continue to keep a close eye on that Entergy map because that kind of gives us a view,
right,
if you will, of how the storm is starting to affect different areas of Southeast Texas. We started, like I said, in the green all across the board, and we're slowly starting to see it work its way up as the outages continue to become a little more widespread than we initially saw.
I was just thinking, when we checked it at 11 o'clock, as recently as a little over 2 hours ago, there were no outages. So this is all, we've gone from 0 to 38,000, 37,000 here in the last couple of minutes, 2 hours or so.
Do we have Brandy with us, guys?
Brandy Smith?
Brandy Smith has been working on social media for us throughout the evening. Welcome back, Brandy. You know, I just wanted to talk for a second about the emotional toll that this is going to take on people. This area has been through so many storms, so much trauma. PTSD is real when it comes to natural disasters, and to have them back to back like this, you have a Harvey, you have an Imelda, and now you have a Laura, all of these historic storms. Social media is a place that a lot of folks use almost as their diaries. So it's something that we're able to use to document what's happening, but also keep up to date with information from officials. So just talk to us about what you've been seeing, the sentiment, the vibe you've been getting from folks that are posting about Laura.
Well, I want to jump off on that point, Dejanique, about it being a diary and an outlet, because so many people suffered trauma in the past couple of years as we've been hit by storm after storm. I was in it out in Harvey in 2017, and here we are on the 3-year anniversary of when the flooding really took hold in Houston proper, and a lot of those videos are coming back into my memory feeds. Looking at them is hard, and I opened up on social media just yesterday talking about how, you know, I had a little mini breakdown seeing video that I hadn't seen in 3 years because it stirred up all that emotion and the anxiety. And I think for a lot of people, that's probably happening right now as we're watching this storm move onshore. We're seeing the wind, power is being knocked out, rain is coming down, and they're all such familiar feelings for folks who have lived in Southeast Texas and gone through the Tax Day flood, Harvey, Memorial Day flood here in Houston. It's just been one storm after the other. And I want to jump into social now because really the primary image that's being shared is of Laura making landfall near Cameron, and just the power of this thing. So when it came on shore, it knocked down 2 radar sites as it worked its way in. And this is a really interesting video. So this is a storm tracker video that was low to the ground that got knocked out when the storm surge hit it. We've talked about storm surge, but it is just a massive, powerful wave of water. You think about the storm is just pushing all of it onshore. A lot of warnings from the National Hurricane Center about the power of the storm surge associated with Laura. Looking at some conditions around the area, Charles, just north of Cameron, where landfall happened, Martin here says you can feel the whole hotel shuddering. Go to those feelings of anxiety, that has to stir up some of that. Josh Morgerman, he is the hardcore hurricane tracker that we've been following. He says he's hearing whistling. You saw just now that explosion. He's in Sulphur, so right next to Lake Charles, really in the same area. Wanted to show you what it's like in Port Arthur. Winds are picking up there, but not like what we're seeing just across the border in Louisiana. So we were talking about power outages, how quickly all of those racked up. A heads up that hundreds of power trucks are staged. This is in Louisiana, but still, it shows you the response. Teams are ready to go once the storm is out of our area and they can get in. Just a quick thank you to all of the linemen, all of the utility workers, all the first responders who are out there right now, because they're putting their lives on the line. They're going to do their best to get power back on and to make sure you stay safe. TxDOT also has its crews ready. It says they're going to roll out. They rolled out earlier this evening, hunkering down for a bit, and then they're going to go assess what the roads look like. You know, Bolivar Peninsula, across Southeast Texas, and then Louisiana crews are going to be doing the same. There's going to be a lot of cleanup based on the wind speeds that we're seeing, guys, based on the amount of rain that's coming down. We talked about how fast this storm is moving and how quickly it'll be out of our area, but that doesn't mean recovery is going to happen just like that.
All right, Brandy, we definitely appreciate that information. And it does give you a sense of solace to know that even through the midst of what's happening right now, unfolding before our eyes, that we have these crews that are already in place, not just from Texas, they are from all over the country, willing to leave their families behind in the midst of a pandemic to come to an area that's been ravaged by a natural disaster. So if there's any consolation, at least we know that help is on the way. Well,
It is.
Thank you so much. Control room, give me that one more time. Okay, there we have Jordan James. Jordan has been out and about for the better part of the evening as the storm is starting to really bear down on Southeast Texas. But where you are, I don't see too much wind and rain. JJ, kind of walk us through, set the scene, and give us some updates.
Yeah, Dejanique, we spend most of our day in the Kuntz area, and then we travel down here to Lumberton. Now I'm at the high school. The wind is starting to pick up. The rain is picking up. It's been raining on and off. So the thing about here at Lumberton High School, there's several state groups, rescue groups that are gathered here to support folks with Hurricane Laura. Right now I'm joined with the superintendent of Lumberton, Tony Tipton. So just talk to me a little bit about what's taking place here.
Well, you know, I will tell you that as the wind is picking up and as the rain is starting to come down, we are just really happy to be able to provide this facility for the first responders, our PAC, our Performing Arts Center. It's a joint collaboration between the district and FEMA and all of our first responders, and we have groups gathered here from all over the state. We have representatives from Dallas, Grand Prairie, from Denton Fire Department. We have Water Rescue, Department of Public Safety, Denton County. Gosh, we just have Lumberton PD. We just have folks from all over getting ready to respond to the needs of the community after the hurricane passes.
And you mentioned one of the key things to you was how Southeast Texans are coming together in times of need. How much does that resonate to you as the superintendent of this district?
Well, I'll tell you this, being new to the district, being superintendent since June 25th, I can tell you I have never seen such a tight group of people come together in time of need. The logistics that have been involved in this thing are amazing to me. I'm happy to be here at the PAC representing the district and just really doing anything we can to make these first responders comfortable and making their job easier, and that's really our pleasure here at the district to do that.
And speaking of making them feel comfortable, you told me there are hundreds of people here using all of your facilities, showers, all kind of things. I mean,
yeah, so we have some folks housed over here at our intermediate school. We have some folks housed here at the Performing Arts Center, which is our storm dome. And then we also have some folks over at our high school. Our field house is open for showers. The restrooms are open, obviously. Kitchen's open, coffee's brewing. We are just doing everything we can to make sure that these folks have what they need. So when it's done, they can go out and help our community members.
And so, Dejanique, as you can see, Southeast Texans helping Southeast Texans during these times of need. We haven't really felt the impact of Hurricane Laura, but these resources are here on hand to head toward the Louisiana area to support them during this time. That's the latest here from Hardin County. Jordan James, 12 News.
We're going to go ahead and switch it over to Jordan Williams right now. We're starting to get some updates on the conditions in Sulphur, Lake Charles, and we know that area is getting hit really hard right now. Jordan, what can you tell us?
Well, Dejanique, you folks at home, you probably just heard Patrick say, oh gosh, and I think that was in response to some reports that he's getting about the Lake Charles Civic Center being torn apart, windows blown out, etc. This is video from a storm chaser, and this may be the same gentleman that Brandy was sharing reports from. I just found this clip from Josh Morgerman. I'll share it with you here on our screen, and you can see this is in Sulphur, just relentless rounds of rain. It looks like one tree, one of these palms, has already been snapped, and that's really rare. I mean, these things typically do fairly well in high winds. I want to go to the power grid as well and show you just a couple of things on that. We are now up to 47,000 outages. You know, these are not numbers we enjoy sharing by any means. I just want to let you know, again, significant outages in Orange County. We'll walk through again at the top of the hour what's happening around Port Arthur. Port Acres is in the dark, large parts of Nederland and Groves. Scattered stuff, starting to see just a few more outages scattered around the city of Beaumont at this point. That would be expected. Tropical storm force winds still continuing around Southeast Texas, Dejanique, and maybe worse at this point in Orange County. I know Patrick's particularly concerned, as are we, about our friends in Orange because they've got the edge of the Eyewall impacting them.
Correct. And if we could just loop Patrick in, if he has a second, just to talk to us about what's happening right now. As these power outages continue to spark up in numbers, that gives us an indication of how the storm is moving towards the inland.
Exactly. And let me loop this. Yeah, the Eyewall is basically from Lake Charles down I-10 to Sulphur, Westlake, Vinton, and on into Orange right now. So I'm very curious what's going on in Orange as far as wind speeds. I don't have a lot of information as far as that goes. But as we continue, let's see as far as the wind speeds. Yeah, there you go. All along I-10, serious winds occurring in Lake Charles, Sulphur, Vinton, and possibly Orange, but I cannot confirm that right now. As far as wind speeds, sustained wind speeds as this loads. Okay, 38 in Orange is the last that I've got, 48 in Port Arthur, 85 in Lake Charles. As far as wind gusts, yeah, 128 in Lake Charles, 72, there you go, Port Arthur 72, very close to hurricane force in Port Arthur. Beaumont up to 54 miles an hour. And Jordan, you remember just 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had that severe thunderstorm that went right over Beaumont, Washington Boulevard, and College Street did not do well in that severe thunderstorm as we had wind gusts to 54. That's exactly what we're seeing right now on that same magnitude that we saw just 2 or 3 weeks ago.
And it's interesting that particular monitoring site at Beaumont, folks, is at the municipal airport out on the west end, west of Major, near the other ExxonMobil facility, the chemical facility. Let's come over to the board. I've got some new video that just came in from 12 News anchor Kelsey Johnson. She is hunkered down, we've said that 100 times tonight, safely positioned, how about that, at the Jefferson County Courthouse. She reports, as of now, we are locked up inside because the wind is blowing the doors open. I'm going to bring this full, just so you can get the picture downtown Beaumont. We'll cue this up again. You know, we've got clearly enough wind to start tearing trees apart. And this isn't even hurricane force. Dej, these are tropical storm force gusts. Say that 3 times. Tropical storm force winds gusting through downtown Beaumont right now. So we'll keep monitoring this. The power problems I'm only expecting, unfortunately, to get worse. And you know, Energy had all of these crews. I mean, what'd they say? Thousands of their own employees and contractors. I feel like at some point someone said 7,000 in our region.
Yeah, we did hear that
that's
earlier.
the number that's sticking out with me here at 2 in the morning. And as we zoom in, and I can also pull it up, the outages by county. 48,000. I mean, this is going up about 1,000 customers a minute. in the last couple of minutes. While we do that, if you want to do something, I'm going to check right now to see exactly how many customers Entergy actually has in our area.
All righty,
Perhaps it'll
folks.
tell us that.
We're inching towards that 2 o'clock hour, and that number is standing out in my mind because that's when Patrick said areas like Beaumont are going to start to really feel the effects of this storm coming through the area. So, Patrick, are we still on track for around that 2 o'clock hour?
I'm trying to get some ground truth here out of this because this, it may not make it to Beaumont, the really bad stuff, because
that's okay.
The wind speeds are the serious stuff is in a very small ring, basically, and that ring may not make it to Beaumont. You know, you're talking about a ring that is probably 15 miles wide. That's it.
Yeah.
But you do feel like Orange is getting it right now?
I think Orange, if they're going to see, they're probably seeing the worst of it right now. But that ring is 20 miles away from Beaumont, 15 to 20 miles away. It may not make it into Beaumont. It may not make it into Port Arthur. And Port Arthur, it may have seen its worst. As this heads, this is maybe a blessing that we're looking at right now because of the small extent of where the hurricane force winds extend outward from the center. You know, you're only talking about 30 miles from the center, so that's small, and that would be some wonderful news as this continues to head north at 15 miles an hour. So that means it's heading towards DeQuincy, out of Lake Charles. Lake Charles is getting ready to get the break and is getting ready to get into the eye. Same thing with Sulphur, Westlake. It's probably already decreasing as it heads towards DeQuincy. And really, Moss Bluff is in the Eyewall right now. And this is basically going to parallel the river, Sabine River, and maybe up towards Newton. So with any bit of luck, the Jasper will not see the heaviest rainfall and strongest thunderstorm activity and winds, and it may be just Newton and Orange County, extreme eastern Jasper, or I should say eastern Orange County, and Newton seeing the worst of the weather as this heads towards DeRidder, DeQuincy, and up towards Kinder over the next hour or two. So this may be it in Beaumont. This is looking a lot better for Beaumont.
You know, maybe an hour and a half ago, we spoke to Orange Mayor Larry Spears, and we were asking him just how he felt, what were his sentiments, and he said, we are praying for a miracle. We are praying that, you know, this thing kind of changes paths or it dissipates. And even though Orange is feeling the effects right now, it does look like, for the most part, compared to what this forecast was just a few days ago, and the way that Southeast Texas looked like we were going to take that direct hit, things are definitely looking in our favor. So we are feeling it. We are getting the wind. We are getting the rain. But it could have been so much worse. And I think that is something to be thankful for right now. Speaking of so much worse, though, we want to take a look at some video. This is coming out of Sulphur, Louisiana. And the winds that you're going to see in just a second, my goodness, I'm hearing they're just relentless. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, that's the video that
this is the full screen video from the storm chaser, Josh Morgan, and we must have received permission to share this.
Yeah.
Incredible power flashes. And, you know, this is before that tree in the center of your screen came apart. In some of the later clips, of course, it went dark there because of the power outage. But
look at that. Those trees looking like toothpicks.
That looks like a Cat 4.
Wow.
As if we know what a Category 4 hurricane is supposed to look like.
Just some amazing images there. And of course, we're going to see more and more of these images coming out within the coming days. Just keep in mind, right now, we are in the thick of it. This is unfolding right before our eyes. So as we're getting information, we're trying to share it with you as quickly as possible. Again, trying to keep our crews as safe as possible. So some of them are staged in areas where we don't feel comfortable having them out and about. When the conditions start to clear, we will then go ahead and hit the streets and start to assess the situation so that you all are aware of what's happening all across Southeast Texas.
Coming up on 2 a.m. this morning, Dejanique, I did pull up some new video from Beaumont. This is from Luis De Leon. He's on the other side of the highway. This is at the Academy right there on East Tex and north end of Beaumont. And you can really see as he pans across here, we'll recue the video, the winds really whipping apart these trees. Some small debris, looks like leaves and small branches flying, but certainly these conditions have really worsened in the past 15 minutes. This is brand new video that Luis just shared with us. Again, as you mentioned, our crews are positioned at hotels, at banks, at very safe spots that we had pre-identified so that they would not be out in the very worst of this. Dej?
Absolutely. And so, Jordan, just as we're coming up on the 2 o'clock hour, we're taking a moment just to be thankful. Patrick has let us know that into the Golden Triangle, we may not feel those hurricane-forced winds. It looks like Jaleesa, though, is still out in Beaumont. Looking windy, looking rainy, but she's still standing. Jaleesa, what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I was listening in on Paul talk, and boy, it's nice to hear that it isn't going to get significantly worse out here, because the wind has certainly picked up. As you can see as I'm standing here, the gusts of wind really pushing this way, and we're actually starting to see some power outages out here as well. I'm going to have Alex pan over to this Academy parking lot. So about 20 minutes ago, that Academy parking lot was in the dark. So the backup generators just started up. That wind definitely having a significance here in Beaumont. We've also seen a few more items fly across the parking lot. I mean, it was just some flyers and whatnot, but ironically enough, it was severe weather closure flyers, but we are seeing some things pick up and move around because of this wind, and that means you should not be outside right now. If you are in Beaumont, you should remain indoors, because this wind is strong. I'm a small person, I know, but it's really been pushing me significantly over the last half hour, 45 minutes or so, and the rain really coming in directly on my side. So that's what we're seeing right now. That's what we're hearing right now. It's very loud. You can hear some of the street signs rattle a little bit and shake a little bit. Alex, I don't know if you want to show them the street signs over there and how they're shaking over by the light over there. That's what we've been seeing and hearing. As I was standing by with you guys, I kept hearing this weird creaking rattle. So I looked over to the right, and that indeed is what it was. So once again, really no reason to be out on the roads right now. The wind is strong, and I know it could be a lot worse, and I'm thankful it doesn't sound like we're going to get that right now. But sounds like we need to seek shelter for a little bit, because these rain boots are soaking wet, guys.
Definitely. Folks need to seek shelter. Folks do not need to be outside, but you hit the nail on the head there, Jaleesa. It could have been so much worse. So if this is the worst that Beaumont is going to see, that wind and that rain, and you are still able to stand strong right there, I would consider that a win for how strong this hurricane is, how intense it was, and how it grew as it came through the Gulf of Mexico. So again, we appreciate you. Please stay safe out there and try and get dry. At least switch those socks out, girl. We want to get over to Jordan Williams, because Jordan, as you've been mentioning, it seems like every minute we're at least getting another 1,000 power outages, and that number has grown since the last time we spoke.
And unfortunately, this is the time where we've topped 50,000, the new number from Energy, as we are with you here 2:02 in the morning. 50,000 plus homes and businesses in Southeast Texas in the immediate energy service area in the dark. I'm going to pull it up here so you can see county by county. I know you can't read these numbers. We now have roughly 1,000 customers in Hardin County without power, close to 30,000 in Jefferson County. Remember, these are homes and businesses, so you figure out maybe 2.5 people live at these houses. Tens of thousands of us now affected by this. 20,000 in Orange County. Orange County especially hard hit. We're going to zoom in here. Some new data coming in around Beaumont. Looks like the area, I'm going to take you in even closer, right along the College Street corridor. The HEB, Gateway, all of that is in the dark right now. Also some scattered outages on the south end of town, closer to the Lamar campus. We'll continue to watch that. And we're going to go down into Mid-County right now. And you can see, Port Acres completely in the dark. A huge section of Port Arthur and Groves has lost power. The area right along Highway 69, just across from the airport, I would say roughly half of Nederland has lost power. Let's come across Bridge City, starting to see significant power outages there. All of Mauriceville, the Highway 12 corridor between Highway 12 and the interstate, my goodness, so that's why the numbers keep going up. And I'm afraid if I hit refresh, this is real time, folks. 50,140 at this point, Dejanique. So again, the numbers have been rapidly rising because we've had the edge of the Eyewall move into Orange County. Patrick's been telling us about this for the last hour. And the power outages are an immediate response. It's changing quickly.
Well, that's why I'm very glad that, as we saw earlier across social media, Entergy has those crews. They're stationed and they are ready to rock and roll, and it's very obvious we're going to need them in the coming days because there are so many outages, not only in Southeast Texas, but if you just scroll over and look into Louisiana.
Let me get this out of the way.
It is bright red, Jordan.
Yeah, this is the state line right about there, and I know it's kind of difficult to see, but you get the idea. I wonder if it'll tell us exactly how many. I mean, I just clicked, wow, just clicked 57,000. On that one dot.
Yeah, that wasn't even a total.
12,000 there. Yeah, so I would venture to say another 4,000. I mean, this entire quadrant of southwest Louisiana looks like there's a small section to the east of Lake Charles. Patrick knows this area better than I, but there's a small area to the east side of Lake Charles that still has power. But yeah, pretty much everybody over there in the dark.
Absolutely, and your heart just breaks for them. As I mentioned, these are not just numbers we're looking at on an Entergy map. When you talk about the collaboration between Louisiana and Texas, these are our family members, they're our neighbors, they are our co-workers. So many ties there. So yes, we dodged a bullet. But we know how this feels, and we know these folks that this is impacting, so we're just really thinking of them. And we're also going to see some of these impacts in Southeast Texas, especially in Orange County as the sun comes up and we're able to start to see some of that damage. They took the brunt of it for our area. Jordan, you were about to comment there.
Well, I always think of the state line as being such an imaginary dotted line because we all go back and forth to visit people and to visit those we love and to do business. And, we talk a lot about how a lot of people live in Orange and may work at the plants in Lake Charles. And there's significant questions about how much the petrochemical infrastructure there right around the lake in Lake Charles was perhaps decimated by storm surge. We just want to reiterate this. Patrick's had to completely readjust where he's getting his radar images right now because the Lake Charles radar was either blown apart, taken offline because of a power outage, or perhaps flooded by the storm surge. You pick. Maybe it's option 1, 2, or 3, or maybe something that we can't envision. But it's completely offline. Could just be because of the power outages.
And when you talk about the petrochemical industry, refineries, plants, and things like that, guys, just putting that into perspective, if all of our plants in Southeast Texas were to all of a sudden flood, think about how many people, how many paychecks would be impacted. So not even the loss of property, but just the loss of income. And when you think of the economy and the domino effect that has on top of a pandemic that has already crippled lots of people and their lives. This is tough stuff to process. So we are really going to have to rally around one another, be there for our neighbors, and help in any way we can, because this is not going to be an easy road to recovery with all of the factors that are in play right now when you look at the total picture. Alrighty, so guys, it's about 2:07 right now. We're continuing to keep a close eye on Hurricane Laura as it continues to move. Yes, we can.
We've had a request to do the weather. We want to be fully transparent. Deja, you and Lauren Hensley and Patrick all came on the air around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Our Daybreak team is arriving in the studio right now as we speak, so there's going to be a little bit of transition. We appreciate you sticking with us through this. We'll look at the maps for just a second. Patrick is just about to hand things over to meteorologist Jeff Gerber, so we'll let that happen here in the next couple of minutes. Patrick, do you want to do one final update from you? Yeah, we'll let that happen here in just a second. In the meantime, a quick check of the power outages. Dej, you said it so beautifully just a minute ago. These may seem like numbers, but these are families who are going to have a lot of frustrating times. And I am seeing some new additional outages in Beaumont. So.
Every
Patrick's
time
we hear
we hear
Patrick
him
putting the
that
mic back
on.
on. And that's okay. That's okay. If you've been with us for the last couple of hours, you understand the microphones are not always friendly to us, but that's okay. They're hurricane proof. Patrick, you want to take it away?
All right, let's. This is it for me for today. Let's get to the radar, and looking at radar, it appears that the worst of it is going to be into Orange County. Let me get some illustration here. I think Beaumont is going to dodge the proverbial bullet, but as you can see, the Eyewall is over Orange County, and I really think that this is going to be something to the west or to the east of this. So all this area right in here will likely see the hurricane force winds, and Beaumont may not see anything. It may be a wonderful situation for Beaumont, and for Port Arthur, probably mid-county. Yeah, you're going to be without a power, but I think the worst of the damage, the worst of the weather is obviously going to come into eastern Orange County, affecting Deweyville, Mauriceville, Orange, BC, extending back over towards, was that Trout Creek, back over towards Call, maybe the other side of Kirbyville, Bon Weir, Newton, DeRidder, Maryville, Burkeville, all up that way, including DeQuincy and what is that? Reeves. Yeah, it's Reeves then Ragley. Reeves is going to see it. DeQuincy's going to see it. Lake Charles is out of it though, but they're on in the Eyewall.
Around what, 130?
Yeah, 130. So that's heading towards DeQuincy and DeRidder. So that's what we're thinking. So the winds are not going to make it to Beaumont. I think we've seen the worst of the winds in Beaumont. From looking at radar, everything is going to stay off to the east. If you look at the ruler, the center of circulation is like this. If you go out 30 miles, that's how far, and it's really only a ring of about 10 to 15 miles in diameter that you have hurricane force winds. So that ring is not going to make it past Beaumont. So you got hurricane force winds possibly about 15 miles in the northwest and southwest, and maybe only 10 miles. That's how small this is. So that's why it's going to miss Beaumont as far as hurricane force winds. Extremely, extremely, extremely small for such a powerful hurricane. As you can see, the ring only 10 to 15 miles wide, and it's going north. Beaumont's, I think, in the clear. Winnie's in the clear. I think it's basically, if you live in eastern Orange County and maybe Newton County, those are going to see the worst of it. Jasper, Tyler, Hardin County, the rest of Jefferson County, we're pretty much in the clear, the way I see it right now.
It's going to be gusts possibly.
Yeah, there'll still be gusts, but not sustained, and that's what we're looking at. Let's take a look at where we're at as far as the Eyewall is right over Deweyville, right over Mauriceville, and right over Orange. So that is the worst you're seeing right now. But notice, just 15 miles to the west, not much going on in Beaumont. That's how small. This is amazing to see this right now occurring. I would never suspected this, as how small the hurricane force winds are. Current wind speeds right now are being reported 36 in Beaumont, 38 in Orange. This is sustained winds, and 39 in Port Arthur, 90 into Lake Charles though.
But still, when you're talking about 40-mile-an-hour wind, you're talking about some tree limbs down,
Sure.
things like that.
And look, you got the winds now shifting to the north in Beaumont at 51, 66 in Port Arthur. So that's nothing to sneeze about.
That's an important note, Patrick. We've been talking about we missed the brunt of it, but these effects that a lot of the folks in Southeast Texas are feeling, this isn't anything to sneeze at, especially when you're having some property damage. I'm having a lot of people who are sending me messages on social media saying that their fences are down,
Right.
that they're starting to see.
And they're going to have trees down.
Correct. Some
Yeah.
people are saying that the trees are coming down in their yards. I'm not sure of the sizes just yet, but these are things we'll be able to assess tomorrow.
And trees will come down on homes. You know, that's what these winds will do. They will bring
Yeah.
trees down. Okay, so we didn't get the 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and I don't think we will. Not in Beaumont, but or in Lumberton, or probably not in Jasper and Woodville. Now, this storm is a very small storm as far as its wind field, and it's moving due north now. So, eastern Orange County and Newton County, those are the ones that are going to see the worst of this weather as the Eyewall, the western Eyewall, affects Orange and also Newton County. But west of there, you may get close to hurricane force wind gusts, but we're pretty much done after this little bit of go round. I think in Beaumont, improving weather conditions expected within the next hour or two.
All right, we want to send it over to Victoria DeLeon. She's been in Koontz for the evening. Last we checked, she was with
It'll be
Jordan
15
James.
inches
They
of
were at a
rain.
gas station. I saw some video of Jordan. He was sprawled out over the concrete, Victoria. It looks like you guys have been having a pretty long day out there with that coverage. We appreciate every single thing that you're doing. But just talk to us about what you've been experiencing, because I also saw you tweeted and you were holding on to your hood because the weather was really starting to pick up there.
Yeah, Deja, I'm going to be completely transparent. Before we got to Lumberton, I had eyelashes on, and those are just gone now. We were in Koontz for the majority of the day, and the winds weren't as bad or as strong, as I should say, as they are in Lumberton right now. We are at the dome near the high school. This is where first responders are staged so that when the storm does pass and people do need to be rescued and there is help needed out there, they will make their way out. Some of them, again, have been sticking it out since Monday, but again, we are under within the building, so you're not seeing a lot of the wind gusts. But if we step downstairs a little bit, that's when you'll start to see it. For a majority of the time, I've been having to hold my hood because it will fly off. Even when we just got here, opening the car door was a little bit of a challenge. Getting our gear out, it was a little bit of a fight with the wind gust, and then we kind of just had to stick it out. At one point, one of the wind gusts were just too strong. I just had to kind of hold on to the door handle and wait it out. It passed by very quickly, and as Patrick mentioned, the good thing about this storm is that it's rolling through quickly, and so the sooner that it does that, the sooner we can get to the recovery part of this. And that's, of course, when we see a lot of people in the community coming together, lending a helping hand. We see it already at this dome where the first responders are. Earlier, Jordan James talked to the superintendent of Lumberton ISD, and he just echoed his messages about community being there to support each other. As far as the electricity here goes, the power was flickering on and off. It was off for about, I want to say 10 seconds, and then quickly came back on. And then this rose bush over here, that's what we've been keeping an eye on. It's been, again, the wind gusts are on and off stronger, and then they calm down a little bit. Right now it's moving a little bit. The wind gust is picking up a little. But again, we are within the building, and this is where we're keeping safe. But I think we're going to be heading out of here pretty soon.
I'm going to recommend that. It looks like the winds are definitely picking up, Victoria, and we want you guys to be safe. We want you to be secure. And then once the storm passes and the situation is just a little safer, you can go out there and assess. Looks like Victoria's saying some power outages.
The power just went out again. It's back on. It's doing that flickering thing again, and I think this is something that we're going to see throughout the night.
All right, Victoria, we'll definitely keep a close eye on that. You guys, please stay safe out there. Really quickly, we want to send it over to Brandy Smith. Brandy has been keeping a very close eye on social media for us all night. We've been hearing from officials. We've also been hearing from folks who are just trying to keep track of what's happening, telling us how they feel. I love that meme that we've been seeing of the state of Texas and Louisiana just kind of embracing. So a lot of different ends of the spectrum when it comes to information there. Brandy, anything new you can share with us?
Dejanique, right now, the great thing about social media is it provides us a real-time look at what's happening all over Southeast Texas, as well as across the border in Louisiana. And the Eyewall has now made its way to Lake Charles. And I'm just going to cycle through some of these videos that show the strength and power of the winds in the Eyewall. So this again is in Lake Charles. You see trees down and it is just stripping bare hotels, signs. Look at that. You can see absolutely sideways rain. I do want to point out that the videos I'm sharing with you are from experienced weather trackers, hurricane trackers. This is not something I recommend you try to jump outside and film on your own. So again, extreme winds there. This is about 140 just nearby. You can see the power of that wind. So again, this is in Sulphur, Louisiana. That same guy, he said that things were quieting down. He wasn't hearing like the whistling, the howling of the wind. Well, 3 minutes later, he tweeted, "Spoke too soon. Big bone rattling gusts, worst of the night." He says lobby windows are starting to fail, maybe an inner eyewall eddy because radar says we're practically in the eye. So this is what he's talking about. Pieces of the hotel are coming down, are falling off as the wind just blasts them. Here's another look at buildings being gutted in Lake Charles. This is from Retimmer. I mean, just pulling pieces of buildings off. The strength of this wind, and the roof of this hotel is coming off. You can see little bits and pieces there. This same guy noticed that cell phone towers were starting to go down in the area, so